We're living in unprecedented times. Around the world, medical teams are doing an amazing job in tackling the coronavirus. In the UK, our brilliant NHS, thousands of key workers and volunteers are leading the battle against COVID-19. Many of us are following government advice and staying at home in lockdown. Before the pandemic hit, myself, Neal, aka BBQ Explorers, and the Smokin Elk had talked about collaborating on a video project for YouTube. The virus put a stop to that idea. However, as barbecue mad people, we are determined not to be beaten, so we have used a bit of online tech to create a new video show for the barbecue community. Welcome to the Lockdown Barbecue Show. Coming up in today's show, Elky shows us how to create the perfect sausage fatty. Neal gets to grips with his milk churn smoker. Our special guest is Ashes-winning cricketing legend Matthew Hoggard, aka Hoggy, who is absolutely barbecue crazy. In his shack, Elky shows us his must-have barbecue essentials. And we go on a journey around the barbecue community to take a look at what you've been cooking. Welcome to the Lockdown Barbecue Show. Hello and welcome to the show. We hope you've had a great week. We've got some great films coming up in today's programme. Elky, the weather's been a lot better. What have you been up to?
I've had some horrific internet issues over the last week, so much so that it's now 7 in the morning and we're out here with a cup of tea rather than a can of Stella filming this. We've got a lot of content in this show, so we're going to crack straight on with our guest interview. We've got England Ashes winning legend Matthew Hoggard.
Hoggy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Apart from the rain, having to barbecue underneath the brolly. Haven't built a shack yet, but all of that, all good.
Hoggy, probably one of the last social events I was at this year was probably with you at the Kamado Joe event. Obviously, lockdown's happened since then. How have you been coping since lockdown?
I've been hammering the Kamado Joe. Let me tell you, that KJ's been getting some fearful abuse. Mind you, so has all the grills. To be fair, because I'm quite antisocial at the best of times, and I've got a nice garden, I've got a fantastic view, I've got 3 dogs I can walk out, I'm quite happy as Larry. I'm spending time with the family, I'm cooking on the grills, I'm going out and enjoying the countryside, and I don't have to put up with idiots. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's true. It's good to have an outdoor space and a love of barbecue and beer, isn't it?
It is, and we've got a local brewer down the road, maybe 300, 400 metres away. And we've got a local microbrewery, so again, you guys need some beer, and you can get poly pins or the mini kegs, and it serves you right for at least 2 days.
Hoggy, you've gone from winning the Ashes to now cooking with Ashes. When did your love of barbecue begin?
Oh, I'm loving that. Ashes to ashes, eh? Most probably when I was 18, I was lucky enough to be able to go over to South Africa and play cricket in South Africa for 6 months in Johannesburg, of all places, for the Pirates, for the Greenside Pirates. And they like to barbecue, but they call it braai. So I used to braai every weekend, every night. And they were brilliant. And that's most probably where it first kicked off, where I thought when you grew up in England that a barbecue was burnt chicken or raw chicken, burnt sausages and burgers. But when you go to South Africa and you have the snook braais and they have the boerewors on there, and then they do the nice spatchcock chicken they're called flatties and the steaks, it just opens your eyes to everything. And they used to have a tradition, or they did in my club, and it was called drinking wood. They used to cook on an iron wood called Camille Duran, which is the really dense wood that gives off a lot of heat, and the ashes stay hot for a long time. But before you put the proper cooking wood onto the braai, you have to light it, so they get soft wood. So they put the soft wood to get the fire going before they put the proper wood on. And we used to have a stack of drinking wood up to here. And every time the women came around and said, is it ready to cook? Or, no, there's still too flamed, it's still hot. So when they turn the back, you put some more softwood onto the fire. So the flames kept on going. When they come back 20 minutes later, no, it's still too hot. And so like after an hour and a half after we'd finished drinking, we'd put the cooking wood on it and we'd cook after maybe an hour and a half of drinking. But yeah, the food they cooked over there was something completely different.
That is absolutely genius. I like the idea of the drinking wood and the cooking wood. I think I'm going to steal that one, mate. I'm going to steal that one. So when you're on tour with England, was there ever any barbecue on the menu, or did you get to try barbecue in places like the West Indies and Australia?
Yeah, obviously, because you by yourself, you by yourself, you're in a big group. The hotels used to put on barbecues, and if you're lucky enough that you had friends of the opposition. So, like for us, we had Damien Martin, we had Jason Gillespie, we had Darren Lehman all come over to Yorkshire and play for Yorkshire. So when we toured Australia, you got to go around to their houses for the Yorkshire contingents, go around and have a bride. But yeah, you got to the, I would say, the more catering barbecues rather than this small intimate. I'm going to show off and show you what we can actually cook on the grill rather than a corporate day.
Any particular highlights?
Particular highlights. Most probably the best one was when we were in New Zealand, and we went out and we were pulling fish out of the sea, chopping them up and plonking them, filleting them, plonking them on the grill as we were coming back into shore, and having a fresh food straight from the sea onto the grill and eating it before we got home. That was really nice.
You're obviously really into barbecue. Obviously more so over the last 2 or 3 years or so. When did you kind of start getting into it a bit more seriously? Because you've come up with Hoggy's Grill, haven't you? Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah. So obviously I played cricket for too many years until they found me out and I got too old and fat. And the injuries kept on coming, and then you have to find something that replaces cricket. And to be fair, there's nothing that's going to replace walking out in front of 60,000 people playing a sport with all the chanting, and you're not going to replace that. But you have to find a passion to say what you're going to fill your time with. And I didn't know what to do because I'd fallen out of love a little bit with cricket. I knew I loved to barbecue. I knew I loved eating. I knew I loved drinking. But how do you then create something around eating and drinking? And then somebody asked me, you should teach people how to cook on a barbecue. And I went, yeah, that'd be great. And that sort of like planted a seed, and it's grown and grown. As you say, you saw me at KJ Kamado Joe. I went to Traeger. I've been on Napoleon. I've been on the Broil King. And it's just said, you know what? I would love to put on shows and a class and a school. So I'm opening up a school at Rutland Water at Rutland Garden Nurseries, where we'll teach people how to barbecue and not just burn the sausages and make raw chicken. There's a lot of things we can cook other than that. And it's such a beautiful venue. It overlooks the Rutland Water. It's in the middle of the country. It's in Rutland. It is a stunning place. And I just want people to enjoy cooking and to be able to enjoy their outside space as much as I do.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Is just enjoying the cooking, enjoying being outside, enjoying relaxing over the fire, maybe with a beer. To me, you just can't beat it.
I love being outside. We say the focal point in any house is the kitchen. You might have the smallest kitchen in the world, the biggest living room. Nobody stays in the living room. Everybody wants to be where the action is, where the cooking is, and that is normally the kitchen in most households. Now, if you had a barbecue, if you're outside, people want to be around where you're cooking. And to me, the taste difference that you get over real fire, real coal, if you put your smoke chips in with your gas, and just being able to create the flavours and cook fantastic food outside while gathering around, as you say, is something primal, isn't there? Making fire, cooking meat, drinking beer. There's nothing better, and there's nothing better in my garden than doing that.
So what's better, nailing your fresh brisket or winning the Ashes?
Oh, do you know what? They're completely different. I can remember making my first brisket and being so disappointed with it. It was a rolled brisket. It didn't have any fat on it. It was so lean, and I tried to smoke it, and it came out really dry. And I'm thinking, I followed the recipe. What am I doing wrong? And then I realised, you know what? You need the layer of fat on the top. The bigger piece of meat, the better. Keeps the flavours, keep the juices in. And I recently just did an 8.5 kg brisket, and it just came out superb. And it fed the entire village, to be fair.
Nice.
Hoggy, anyone who's new to barbecuing, what top tips would you give them?
Again, so depending on what they're cooking, I think you need to know your barbecue. I need to know how to control the temperature. I think you need to plan it. I think there's one thing that I always find amazing, that you say you're going to have a barbecue. People come around and you try and cook 10 different things. You'll have chicken on it, you'll have beef on it, you'll have sausage on it, you'll have the vegetables on it, and you'll go off and you'll try and cook 10 different meals. And then you're thinking, well, if I had a party or a dinner party at home, you'd cook one thing, maybe two things, and now you're out of your element and you're cooking 10 different things on something that you don't quite understand. And to me, it's all about temperature control, having different temperatures on your barbecue, and making sure that you've got a meat thermometer is a massive bonus for me. That you cook meat until it's cooked. You don't cook it a matter of time. You cook it until it's cooked. If that takes 10 minutes, it takes 10 minutes. If it takes 10 hours, it takes 10 hours.
Amen to that. That's a definite rule of mine as well. Have you got any favourite dishes to cook on the barbecue?
I love chicken wings. Very quick, very simple. Chicken wings on a grill. Love bacon candy bites. They are belly pork ends, but made out of the bacon before they slice it. And that cure on that bacon with that saltiness, with all that rendered juicy fat, with the crystallization. that to me is a massive winner. Made out of bacon candy bites.
What's next for Hoggy? What's the future got in store?
There's so many different opportunities for the barbecue school and the event side of things, that I've done virtual cook-alongs, and it's just expanding the brand and global. I want Hoggy's grills and Hoggy's rubs and Hoggy's sauces, and to be a barbecue staple of. Do you know that? I want a barbecue. That fat old cricketer does then. And that's the sort of like the dream of taking over the barbecue world, and hopefully joining in with the great fun that everybody else is having.
Hoggy, good luck in the future with all your plans, and thanks for being a fantastic guest on the Lockdown Barbecue Show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks, Hoggy. You've been an absolute legend.
Yes, no worries. Thank you.
Elky, Hoggy's an absolute legend.
Oh, he was. What a great guest. And if he turns out to be half as good as barbecue as he was at cricket, then we're in for a great treat.
Absolutely. Now it's time for Elky's how-to, and he's going to show us how to prepare for the perfect barbecue.
So this week essentially isn't a how-to. I'm going to show you what items I always have to hand in my shack. So first things first, you want a good quality charcoal. I use home oak charcoal from London Log Company. You want a good quality charcoal. You don't want any of those instant light nonsense that you buy from a petrol station, from a garage. Get yourself good quality charcoal, be it lumpwood or good quality briquettes. Next up, you'll want something to light them. So I use these eco-friendly wood wall fire lighters. We pop one of these under the next item, a chimney starter, and it gets your charcoal going in about 10 minutes. Next up, chimney starter. Don't be without one of these. This stops you having to buy that instant light rubbish, having to use any accelerants to get your charcoal burning. You just pop one of those fire lighters under here, you have your charcoal in here, and within 10-15 minutes, your charcoal is ready to go. A lighter. You're going to need something to light that fire lighter, so I always have to hand a lighter, or I like my nifty little flamethrower. Obviously, with fire, things get hot. You're going to want yourself some nice heat-proof gloves. These are welder's gloves. Get yourself a good set of heat-proof gloves, and they're going to save your fingers. Next up, I always have my charcoal grate to hand, so this is handy when you dump your coals in. You want to move them to one side or move them wherever. Handy little charcoal rake. Wire brush to clean the grates. Once I've got the grates up to temperature, they're nice and hot, I'll give them a once over with this wire brush, make sure they're nice and clean. So this is another item that's always on hand in my shack. This might not be something that you think would be in a barbecue shack, but I always have my standing knife to hand because it is fiddly trying to open those bags of charcoal, trying to do the little string trick where you pull the string and it all opens nice and neatly. No, I haven't got time for that. Standing knife, take the top off, charcoal ready to come out of the bag. Goes without saying, you want yourself some good quality tongs. And of course, if you're cooking burgers, you'll want a spatula. I also do a lot of cooking on cast iron griddles and soapstones. I like to know the temperature of the stone of the cast iron before I cook on it, so I have myself an instant read thermometer. You can pick these up for about 10-15 quid. They're very handy to have. Talking of temperature, I always, this is one of the first things I recommend, I always have my thermo pen to hand to take the temperature of your meat to make sure it's not underdone or overdone. I also like to have one of these, which is a thermometer. We're going to go more into this in one of my how-tos soon, but this is a thermometer that you leave in your meat. As the saying goes, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. So you leave this probe in your meat and it monitors the temperature of your meat throughout the duration of your cook. Lastly, one of the most important things to have when you're cooking outside, always have a cold beer. So that's my how-to for this week. A list of items that I always have to hand in the shack, some essential, some non-essential. I hope you found this useful.
Great advice there, Elky. Now we've got a new feature in today's show.
We certainly have. Every show we're going to be showcasing our dish of the week. Let's start with the first one.
Today I'm going to show you how we make a sausage fatty. I cooked this a few weeks ago, put it on my Instagram page, and it got such great feedback that I've decided to make this my first dish of the week. So what is a sausage fatty? It's essentially sausage meat stuffed with cheese, maybe jalapenos, chorizo, whatever you want to stuff it with, wrapped in bacon, topped with your favourite barbecue rub and finished with a barbecue glaze. It's not health food, it's pretty damn filthy, and I'm going to show you how we make it. First things first, we need our sausage meat. So we're going to take 6 sausages or 450 grams of sausages, and we're going to skin these, remove the meat, and use this for the basis of our fatty. So take your sausages, and all you do to skin them, just take a nice sharp knife along the skin, and then just remove that skin, and out comes the meat. So we do this to all of our sausages. So we've removed the skin from the sausages. Now what you want to do, you want to get yourself a layer of cling film, put that on your chopping board, because otherwise your meat is going to stick to the board. To moulding this, you start with wet hands. So we're going to get some water on our hands, and then we're going to make this into a nice flat rectangle. You end up with something like this. It's fairly rectangular in shape. It's just under 1 centimetre thick. So we're now going to set that to one side while we set our bacon out. Now the bacon, you want to do the same again. You want to get yourself a sheet of cling film down on the board. It's going to make it easier. The bacon's not going to stick to the board, but it's going to make it easier for us to roll that bacon around the sausage meat. So take your streaky bacon, stretch it out a little bit. You want to get it as long as you can, and just pop that on your board. So take your bacon, stretch it out a little bit, and then just put that on to the next bit of bacon, just slightly overlap it. We're going to take this here, and being very careful, we're just going to flip that over. Now's the fun part. Now you get to choose exactly what's going to go in yours. I like to go in with some chopped, sliced chorizo. I like to go in with some nice diced jalapenos. I've got this spicy 4 cheese mix that I find works really well. It's got a nice little kick to it, and it gives you nice oozy, melty cheese. So I always put in a bit more than I think we need, because why not? So just pour that onto your toppings inside the sausage meat, like so. So There's our fillings. We've got the bacon wrapped around the sausage meat. Now, the tricky part is you want to fold this over on itself. You want to fold it into a log, but you want these bits of bacon here to overlap to seal it off. So you take your cling film up. We're just going to pull that up and around to the end of that sausage meat there. Try and tuck it in using the cling film, like so, and then take your cling film away and then just carry on rolling that over. There's our beautiful creation. So onto the ends, we just want to try and squeeze the meat into itself as much as you can, trying to create a seal with that sausage meat. Doesn't have to be perfect. You will lose some cheese, I'm sure of it, but just try and push that in as best you can to create a seal. So there it is. Now, barbecue rub, choose your favourite barbecue rub. And that's it. That is what we're going to do to that for now. We're going to pop this back in the fridge because we're not quite ready to cook it. You can put this on straight away, but if not, just wrap it back in the cling film, pop it back in the fridge until you're ready to go. I'm going to be cooking this indirect at about 240 Celsius until we reach an internal temperature of 73 degrees. We're at 50 degrees. Like I said, we don't want to take this off until we're at 73, but we are going to start glazing this with our favourite barbecue sauce. So we've had a couple of coats of glaze on there. We're going to go in, take the temperature with our thermopen. We're looking for 73, we're at 74. Happy days, we're going to take this off and serve up. So here's my sausage fatty. I'm sure you want me to slice in and see exactly how we've done, so let's take a look. Straight down the middle. Let's just lift that up and just show you how we've done. Absolutely glorious. So there we go, my dish of the week, sausage fatty. I hope you'll give it a try and stay tuned and see what's up next week.
Elky, that sausage fatty looked amazing. How much did you eat?
I'm not ashamed to say that me and the missus ate the whole lot in one sitting. Now, hopefully some of you will give that a go. And if you do, send it in to us at the Lockdown BBQ Show on Instagram, and we'll do our best to feature it in the next feature, What's Cooking.
Some great dishes there, Elky. Which was your favourite?
A couple of standouts for me: Super Sam barbecue with those glorious looking ribs, and B-box food with the bavette steak and the Jersey Royal potatoes. Now, Neal, you've been getting the grips of churny over the last week or so, haven't you? And you've done your first joint of meat. Should we take a look?
Let's do it.
Every time I look at my milk churn smoker, it really makes me smile. I inherited churny a couple of months ago, and it's time to do a proper cook on it. I decided to go for a pork leg joint. I removed the skin and added a dry rub. I had absolutely no idea how long it would take to cook on churny. Elky's always telling us the importance of cooking to temperature and not to time. So I decided to use a digital oven thermometer to help me out, and I set the alarm for 63 degrees Celsius. When I put the pork joint into the smoker, its temperature was just 17 degrees Celsius. With the cook underway, I decided to do a bit of work on the veg patch. We've had a lot of rain recently, and with a few days of sunshine, everything's growing really quickly. The sweet corn, runner beans and tomatoes are all looking good. After about an hour, the temperature had risen to 30 degrees Celsius. Everything seemed to be going to plan, so it's time to chill. During lockdown, we've created a pond, and the local wildlife has started moving in. It's become a real feature in the garden and a great place to barbecue. At around the 2.5 hour mark, the temperature had risen to 60 degrees. Not long to go, just enough time to crack open a bottle of cider and finish planning the meal. It wasn't long until the alarm went off at 63 degrees Celsius, and I have to say the thermometer took all the stress out of the cook. The pork was done, and it was time to rest the joint. I added olive oil and salt to the pork skin and prepared the barbecue to cook it along with a few sweet corns. Our meal was great. The pork was tender and moist, but we all agreed I oversmoked it. I served it up with herby potato wedges, coleslaw and sweet corn. It's a really big learning curve cooking with Churny, and I'm aiming to crack it next time.
It was very nice, Elky, but I think the pork was a tad too smoky.
Oh, it's all a good learning curve, Neal. It's all a good learning curve.
Certainly is. Elky, who's our special guest next week?
So next week, we've got somebody that's been doing a lot of live cook-alongs over on Facebook. She's won Southwest Cook of the Year a couple of times. It's Susan Stoneman.
I think Sue's going to be amazing. Now, thank you for watching, everybody. A big thank you to our main sponsor, Kamado Joe, and we'll see you next week.
Keep those fires burning, guys. We'll see you next week.